We may be about a year and a half away from Sacramento's mayoral election, but the race is already starting to take shape. Several names have joined the running to replace current mayor Darrell Steinberg, who late last week announced that he will not be running for a third term. Thanks for joining us tonight for Fox 40 News at 5:30. I'm Eric Harriman.
And I'm Nikki Lorenzo. Today, a new name has announced his candidacy, one very familiar with the capital city. Former Sacramento City Council member and community advocate Steve Hansen launching his campaign with a video called Leave No One Behind. The video highlights Hansen's life experiences, the crises he says are facing the city right now, and his vision for Sacramento's future. Hansen was elected as Sacramento's first openly gay city council member in 2012 and served until 2020.
When I left the city council, I never thought I'd run for office again. But over the last few years, the city we love has become unrecognizable. The problems I warned about a decade ago, homelessness, the cost of living, and neighborhood safety have gotten worse.
So Hansen joins a growing list of candidates for mayor. That includes public health advocate Dr. Flo-Jean Coffer, prosecutor Maggie Krell, and Democratic Assembly member Kevin McCarty. So if elected, Hansen will make history again as the city's first openly LGBTQ+ mayor. And joining us now live in studio, former councilman Steve Hansen. Thanks for giving us some time on this big day.
It's so nice to be here.
Yeah, in
Nikki.
person.
Yeah, thank you. I love it. Post-pandemic, we can be together again.
So first question I asked all these candidates, I mean, you're no stranger to public service. Why do you want to be mayor of Sacramento?
You know, a lot of people ask me that question. A lot of people think it's a bad choice, particularly people that care about me. But this is a city that's been so good to me. And growing up, I had a really rough childhood, and I shouldn't have gotten to this side of life, but I did. And part of my way of paying back the universe, the people who helped me, is by trying to fix systems. And as I've watched the city over the last couple of years kind of fall back on safety, on homelessness, on so many fronts, I felt like I shouldn't sit on the sidelines. I should put myself on the line and go fight to make it better.
And you outlined some of your story in the video. We showed parts of it. And there was a line in there, too, where you said, you know, you alluded, and I'm paraphrasing this here, where some of the issues that you pointed out while you were in service, serving on the city council, have come to light. So what are those issues? Is it specifically homelessness?
It's a variety of things. When I ran, we were in what we know now as the tail end of the Great Recession. Safety was a big factor. City budget had been cut. Furloughs of state employees. The city was on the mat, and basically we had lost our spirit. And it feels like right now people are worried about safety. You know, they don't call in minor crimes anymore because they're worried that nobody cares. Homelessness has grown into such an epidemic. We talked about it then, though, and I was the first person to get $1 million from the city into homelessness. We'd never done that work before. We had no plan. Housing was a big issue. We were at the bottom of the recession, and we had too much housing, but we also know that our city had twice as many people in the central city in particular in the 50s than we did then. And if we were going to see our downtown business core redevelop, if we were going to see our commercial corridors and neighborhoods develop, we had to build housing, because housing, where you put it, creates opportunities for people to care about neighborhoods, about communities, and we need more housing.
Also, not just in the city of Sacramento, across the state right now, homelessness is the big issue. It crosses age, demographic, socioeconomic background, and you mentioned the business community. And I talk to business leaders in downtown Sacramento all the time, and they know what happened during the pandemic, and that sort of exacerbated things. What would you do as mayor? Because as you know, this is a multi-pronged issue. This is mental health, this is addiction, this is affordability. A lot of folks might think, you know, it just isn't housing first. What do you say to that?
Well, homelessness is one word for 1,000 different problems, right? And every person has their own thing. But during my time on the council, we built shelter beds, we built permanent supportive housing. We have failed as a region to come up with a plan for how we're going to build enough housing for the people at risk. There are 9,000 people who have been counted as homeless in Sacramento County. Out of 1.7 million, we should be able to fix that problem, but we've made investments with historic amounts of money from the state and federal government and others. It doesn't seem to move the needle. So first we need to assess what's working and what's not, put ideologies aside. And I don't think we can turn a blind eye to some of the impacts on communities. Where I lived downtown, we didn't want to walk our kids to school 3 blocks away, homeless camps and other things. And if we want people to live in the city of Sacramento, we want them to love it, raise their families there, open a business there. We have to have some balance between what's going on in our streets, what people are doing in their neighborhoods where they're raising their families. And I think it's just gotten out of whack. And so my goal, I'm not running for governor or president or the legislature. I love Sacramento and I want to fix Sacramento. I want to clean up the mess. And literally, you could drive around, you could take trash trucks in the claws, you could go pick up trash endlessly, and we should be doing that. Why do we accept piles of garbage on the side of the street? I don't know, but that's something that I could fix as mayor.
I want to ask you too about this notion of strong mayor. Kevin Johnson tried to do it. I talked about it with Darrell Steinberg. He even mentioned after that failed, he was not going to run for mayor again, even though he sort of molded in the last few months or so. I asked Kevin McCarty, who was running for mayor last week, he opposes it. What is your feeling about this? Because it seems like some folks might feel you always want to check power in terms of politicians and political leaders because voters are concerned. If we give someone too much power and they don't use it wisely, that can hurt us. But in order to get things done, it seems like there needs to be someone who's willing to take risks and bold and tough decisions. How do you feel about the strong mayor?
How I succeeded in my life was working hard every day. We're not a city that can get by on our looks. We actually have to work for a living. And every day we have to work on these problems. We can't just be fancy and sit at the dais or go to a ribbon cutting or groundbreaking. And strong mayor is just a way for a top-down system to tell people what to do. But it's not working in San Francisco. It's not working in Oakland. And I think it's more about the people. And if we accept that we have to work with folks we may not always agree with or maybe not always like, then I think we can make a lot of progress. And you go back to my time on the council, Kevin Johnson and I didn't see eye to eye on strong mayor, but we worked together on things like the Golden One Center. We worked together on things like the arts. Same with Mayor Steinberg. There are opportunities for us to form common ground and to get stuff done. So the fighting and telling people what to do, it's a little bit like at home. My kids may not always listen, but I'm not a strong mayor. But I still get my kids into a place where they're ready for school, they're off to school, and we wipe butts and we clean up messes and we just deal with it. It's not, there's no gods anymore. We just have to be committed to working together.
I know we've talked about a lot of your issues, but let's say you're walking the streets of Sacramento. You run into someone that was not living in your district before, and you say, I'm Steve Hansen, and I'm running for the mayor of Sacramento. What is your elevator pitch? How will you make their lives better?
You know, the thing that I've heard from voters the most, and I've been talking to people, I tried to talk myself out of this for 6 months, was they really don't think the city is responsive to them anymore. When there's a pothole, they're worried that nobody cares. When something's gone wrong in their neighborhood, and we all see the stories about what's going on in next door or someone's car broken into, they just want to know that somebody's going to be there if they need help. And that is the basic function of a city. Keep people safe, clean up messes, make things look nice, and recruit jobs and, you know, provide services. And that's where we've kind of gone off into things that are good, but we've lost focus on the fundamentals. And I think we get back to the fundamentals, and then we do the other stuff. We build new bridges. We build out the rail yards. We build soccer fields for Sac Republic and the kids. But we sort of lost touch on the basic things that the city cares about. And that's what I want to do.
Something that Mayor Steinberg hasn't been able to accomplish that you would like to accomplish?
Well, he's worked on a lot of things. I think around the city, there are projects throughout neighborhoods. But I think the one thing that is going to be the toughest is to change the culture at City Hall. When I got elected in 2012, council members didn't talk to one another. They were fighting openly at council meetings. Their doors were closed at the council offices. And we have to talk to one another again. We can have a dispute or a debate at the dais, but we have to still do what's in the common interest of the people of Sacramento. And I think changing the culture is going to take the citizens realizing that if they help us work together, we can do more for them. It's the interest groups. And honestly, sometimes the media world we live in, you live in, is a snapshot, and it doesn't help us solve problems. So how do we rebuild a positive culture in the city that's not focused on the state capitol, but is really, what does Meadowview need? What does Natomas need? What does Tahoe Park need? And really form a team and a plan to go do that and not worry about who's getting credit.
Steve Hansen, candidate for mayor, former council member. You're in.
You're
ready to go.
You're a former council member, Nikki.
Yes,
thank you for having me.
That's right. You are. Appreciate your time. Congratulations. Stay safe out there while you campaign. And I know this is one of many conversations that we're going to have over the next year. All right, appreciate it. Eric?